How are we all doing?
Good.
How are you really doing? So, my name is Pasco. I am, as it says, the founder and director of Men's Circle. We are a very young social startup that is designed to facilitate spaces for men to come together and work on themselves. It's bespoke. It's about being self-driven. It's being self-directed in what you need personally. And today I hope to give you a few practical tools to walk away with, to give you a better understanding of what a men's circle actually is, and a little bit of the experience of what we do in circles. So I thought I'd start with us all centering. Now this is a word that we like to use instead of a meditation, instead of a breathing exercise. The idea of centering is to come back to our center, inside and out. Sometimes we might be leaning forward a little bit into situations. Sometimes we might be leaning back and not taking responsibility. Other times we might be off balance in our world. We might be having a wobble. And other times we might be right in our center. So the idea of a centering exercise is to bring us back, to practice presence, focus, and to be in this moment right now. So if you're up for it, we're going to center right now. I would like you all to find a seating position where your feet are flat on the ground. Put anything you've got in your hands down on the ground and find your hands on your lap, somewhere comfortable, resting. And I think you've already done it, but move your body into a position where you're ready, you're prepared. You're telling your body you're about to do something. So your spine is upright, shoulders relaxed, belly relaxed. We're going to do it eyes open. You're welcome to close your eyes if you feel comfortable. The idea of, again, doing it eyes open is that then we can take it into our everyday life. So, awareness, A. I want you to start with, tune into your sense of sound. So that might just be my voice right now. Tuning into sounds you can hear close by. Can you hear your own breath? Can you hear the breath around you? What sounds are far away? Moving now to your sense of touch. So feeling anything on your skin. The chair underneath you. Your clothes on your body. Maybe even the breath on your skin. Moving your attention and your awareness to your sense of taste. What can you taste in your mouth? What's it like to try and taste? To anchor your attention there. Moving next to your sense of smell. Taking a deep breath for this. What can you smell in the space? What can you smell on you? And then finally moving to your sense of sight. So looking around the space, what do you notice? What are your eyes drawn to? Contrast, textures. B, breath. Place your hand over your belly button and breathe deeply down into your belly. So feeling your belly rise and fall. Stretching your diaphragm. Bringing that breath down into your lungs a little deeper than you would normally. Noticing how that feels. Staying with the sensation. Deepening the breath just slightly. Maybe even enjoying the breath for a moment. Placing your hand back down in your lap. And then finally, core relaxation. So moving down your body, relaxing the parts of our body we typically hold tension. So our forehead, eyebrows, relaxing your jaw, letting your mouth hang open slightly. Relaxing your shoulders. Relaxing your belly. Relaxing your buttocks and your hands. Good. That's it. So that's how we center. We do this at the start of our meetings, we do this in our circles, and it allows us to drop in for a moment, to practice presence, practice being in our body, to anchor our attention just to one thing for a moment. And also, it's an embodiment of softening, which for what we do in a circle, where we share, we talk, is a great precursor to being more open. So physically opening your body, physically softening. Soft squishy parts, our belly. You see dogs rolling over onto their belly, surrendering. We can do the same thing here. We soften our bodies, allows us to open ourselves a little more. So this is where I'm going to invite you all to check in. Very simply, with someone nearby. Now, I invite you to share with someone that you don't know around you, to find someone around you you don't know, and you're going to share your name, where you live, how you are out of 10, 0 being your relative, rock bottom, 10 being your relative, sky high, ecstatic. Okay? So it's a scale for you as much as anyone. And then 3 words to describe how you're feeling. All right? So they don't have to be feeling words, they don't have to be emotions, they could just be words that represent you right now. Okay, so find someone nearby, and I'd like you to share with them your check-in. Okay, you definitely should have switched by now. If you haven't switched, switch over. Thank you. There we go. Everyone's almost finished. Lovely. Okay. So now we have a slightly better sense of where we're all at right now, how we've arrived. What are we bringing? So I'm embarrassed. This is why these are here. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed at the behavior that I hear from women about men. I'm embarrassed at men acting out and harming others. I'm embarrassed that men aren't coping and they're harming themselves. And I'm embarrassed because men don't have the tools or the community to deal with the challenges that they have right now. And I'm embarrassed because this was also me. What's going on for men? What's going on for the men here in this room? What's going on for me? So research, our own research, and many other academics' research, and society tells us that men don't have many friends. They are socially isolated. They're digitally isolated, particularly men that are fathers, particularly men that are married, and particularly men in the countryside. Men are also having currently a crisis of identity and purpose. They don't really know their role in society anymore. They don't know where they stand. Men have a lack of healthy role models. I think for an entire generation we've been looking for a role model. We have fatherless homes, we have absent fathers, we have fathers that spend most of their time working and not much time with the kids. And we have some terrible role models in media, in TV, in film, and our leaders. And then we also have this lone wolf mentality, this lack of self-care, this lack of a toolkit. And this leads to, as you might expect, loneliness, angry, insecure, lost men looking for answers, looking for community. And we see men harming themselves and others. So this is the other reason I'm embarrassed. This was me, circa 2012. And I had very little boundaries, social boundaries. I would give a lot of myself. I was completely reliant on cannabis to regulate myself, to calm down at the end of the day. I needed it every day. I was lonely in London, and I had no idea what I was doing with money. And crucially, what we're talking about today, my emotional fitness, my EQ, my emotional intelligence was very low. I didn't know how to interact with other people in a healthy manner. I didn't know what was going on for other people. I hadn't really taken the time to listen. So I know what you're thinking. What happened? Did I take an ayahuasca trip in Brazil? Did I go to Burning Man? Did I hike around the world? Did I meet a guru? No, I just did the work. I met a small group of men who were dedicated to working on themselves, who told me about this concept of a men's circle or a men's group. They're the same thing. And they showed me that actually you can create an intentional space to actively work on yourself with the support of other men. They showed me that there's this possibility of deeper connection with other men, that there's this whole world awaiting when you intentionally work on your triggers, your boundaries, your relationships, your identity, your health, when you take a moment regularly to check in with yourself. And so it began actually in London parks, and I sadly couldn't find a photo of that. Then it moved during COVID onto online, into Zoom, and it evolved. It started as one weekly circle, which I'm proud to say has continued running every single Wednesday night for, I don't know, over 4 years. It was actually started by this man, Steve Savides, and he got me involved. And we've come a long way in, well, 3 years officially, 4 years total. This is where we are going. This is how it's going. I think we're almost at 1,000 circles right now. We've done various events in person, hikes, socials, day retreats, weekend retreats. We've done multiple circles in person across London, with gyms, with corporates, and, well, hundreds of circles online, which is kind of has been our bread and butter, and now we're bringing our work into face-to-face environments, which, you know, is kind of the reason I think you guys are all here, right? The Social Wellness Club, I think, does an incredible job at facilitating authentic connection face-to-face, right? I think probably one of the reasons we're here is that we've had enough of the digital world, right? We're seeking authentic connection. We want to meet face-to-face and look at each other in the eyes. And so that's what we're pivoting and moving towards more and more. So we run circles, we facilitate circles, but we also train facilitators, and we offer supervision to them, ongoing supervision. But I haven't really explained what it is yet. It's kind of this combination, it's this magic combination of a sharing space that is undoubtedly therapeutic, but we certainly can't call it therapy. It's emotional development, which is crucially what we're going to be talking about today. And it's this supportive and challenging community. I think one of the uniquenesses, if I can say that, about a circle is that it does have a level of informality. While our facilitator holds the space and has training, it's not a therapist in the space, it's not an expert. They partake, they model the way. And so it's this kind of magic combination of challenge, accountability, regularity, kind of like a PT for your mind, if you like a mental fitness class. So what does it take? What is involved? We need a space. Sometimes that's just a Zoom room. Sometimes that's a tent at a festival, which isn't ideal. Sometimes it's a private space in an office space like this, or a yoga studio. Then you get a group of willing men. Usually it's around 6 to 12 men, but sometimes it can be much bigger. When that happens, you need more facilitators. Next, there's a set of agreements. I think I've got a slide on this. Here we go. Really important. This is what makes it different from just a meeting of strangers, right? Non-judgment. Really important, and it's a practice. We practice non-judgment, and it's mostly an internal process, but we're there not to judge others, not to advise others, and we're practicing being okay with however anyone shows up. Confidentiality, super important, meaning we are there to share about our experience. We can talk about our experience outside the circle, but we don't talk about what other people share. Sobriety, hopefully an obvious one there. It's sober work. We're there to be there, present, uninflicted by other things. Next agreement is about telling the truth, honesty, which might sound obvious, but actually what we do in a circle is we're trying to discover the truth. So just because you want to tell the truth and you try to tell the truth doesn't mean that you are. Sometimes you might be tricking yourself into thinking something else is going on. And so we're all there to help you as an individual get to the truth. What is the truth of this situation? Presence, talked a bit about that with centering. Focus, we're practicing focus for 90 to 2 hours, 90 minutes to 2 hours. And then finally, all emotions are welcome, you know. Really important, meaning that men can show up exactly how they are. And that's welcomed and encouraged, leaning into feeling, because us men spend a lot more time up here than we do down here. And so it's a space to practice coming down into our bodies more, practice feeling, and an environment that's safe enough to go there. The format, we've done a little bit of already. We've done the check-in, we've centered. Sometimes we'll have a warm-up question, which is to kind of encourage some focus, encourage and give a hint of what should I be talking about? What should I be sharing? Then we have our shares, which is kind of the main course. That's the long bit where you might have 8 or 10 or sometimes 15 minutes to talk with everyone else listening. And to start with, that can feel really daunting. That can feel like a huge amount of time to try and fill. But actually, once you practice for a while, that time can go really quickly, and you find yourself actually running out of time of that you've got. We check out towards the end, and that's where the kind of proactive, maybe more masculine, action-based aspect of what happens. In fact, I've missed a part. Within our shares, we practice feedback. Feedback, really important, is not advice. It's not opinion. We don't impart our wisdom onto others. What we do is we try and hold up a mirror to the other men in our circle. And so we have various types of feedback that we practice. These are things like reflections. It's things like questions that help that man go deeper and serve that man to explore what's going on. Like I said, getting deeper to the truth. It could be a thing like a celebration. I want to acknowledge you for something. So there's a kind of variety of ways we practice feedback. Check out is lessons, actions, accountability. This is where, like, if it's a weekly circle, then it's like, okay, I'm going to walk away and I'm going to do this week. And you guys and the rest of my circle, you know, you hold me to that. And then finally, we shift state. We have a bit of movement at the end, just to kind of shake off the moment, right, the depth, because we've got to do something next. And then finally, our facilitator in the middle. So what I realized in putting this together is actually a circle does combat those 4 elements that are most pressing, those most pressing challenges for men. A circle creates community quite naturally. Not always. There are conflicts, men that don't get on. But more often than not, there's connection. And so often I'm getting stories of men meeting up individually or whole circles meeting up that have been meeting online for maybe 6 months, and then they arrange something to come together. And then our in-person circles, organising socials beyond actually the circle itself. Self-reflection, really that's the practice of self-awareness. That's cultivating our emotional intelligence. The peer mentoring is key. We have different people of different ages. We have men in their 20s, we have some men in their 70s. And there's this beautiful intergenerational learning that happens. And then finally, the kind of mental maintenance, the mental hygiene, and the resilience building. How am I doing for time? 5 minutes, okay. So it does a bunch of other things as well. I don't have time to talk about those, but that's okay. We're going to talk about emotional fitness in the last 5 minutes. Emotional fitness is just one of the elements that a circle can offer, and it's made up of these different things. Self-awareness. This is what we practice in talking, right? We get to understand ourselves through that practice of talking out loud and working out what's going on for us. What is the truth? Why did I feel that way? What happened in that moment? Like, it's a moment in the week to punctuate and go, actually, how can I be intentional with my relationships here? How can I be intentional with how I'm showing up here? Like, what really happened? Do I need to affirm a boundary somewhere in my life here? It's also understanding other people's emotions, and that you get that from the listening. So in a circle, actually, probably 80% of the circle is listening to others and getting perspective by just hearing what other men are going through. And so you also get an awareness of emotion that's happening, and you kind of get to see behind this curtain of pretense or professionalism, and actually go, oh, actually, yeah, loads of other men, everyone is a bit fucked up, and that's okay. It makes you feel less alone. It makes me feel less alone with my problems. Self-regulation. We've done a little bit of that with the centering. Calming, moving through emotions. This morning I woke up to 1/2 foot of snow, and I really didn't think I was going to make it here. I came from Wales. And frequently throughout the day I was tested. And really this was all about self-regulation. It was about accepting what was going on, working with it, right? And going with the flow of whatever's showing up, because shit will happen, right? That's life. And so the best we can do is prepare for that and have support around us when that shit hits the fan. Because, you know, your loved ones, some of them will die, right? You will lose a job at some point. Like, your mental health will not always be a 10 out of 10. And so the best we can do is prepare and put preparations around us. And for me, the best preparation has been having a circle of men around me. Social skills, communication, that's the feedback element. In a circle, we practice feedback, and that is such a life skill to have outside of circles, for work particularly, talking to people above you or below you or next to you. And then finally, motivation. What is your mindset? What's beneath? You know, when shit gets really real, when stuff gets really hard, what's your backbone? What's underneath your practices? When all your practices go out the window, where's your faith? Where's your hope? Where's your humor? I think I'm going to skip that slide. This is the process we use. How am I doing for time? Am I at time?
A few more minutes, 3 more minutes.
2, 3 more minutes, okay. This is the process we use. Awareness, acceptance, action. This happens within a circle sometimes. Sometimes this happens over time. And I think Ron Burgundy there kind of summarizes the male experience a little bit. Certainly for me, what I found is I was experiencing a huge amount of emotion internally, but I was unable to express it. I didn't know how to communicate it. And a circle for me has helped me get it outside of myself and feel comfortable enough to cry, feel comfortable enough to rage, and communicate when I'm feeling in different ways. So I think we'll just do awareness today. So I want you to turn to the same person that you checked in with and to answer this question. We're going to keep it really brief, so I'm going to give you a minute to share one way, and then I'll say switch. So what is a pattern you are currently trying to change? You're going to have 1 minute. Okay, switch over now if you haven't already. Switch over, please. Okay, thank you. So there we go. A little taster of how it is to share with hopefully a stranger and building trust in their capacity to listen and forming some form of connection, right, in that moment. We don't have time to do the other A's, sadly. This is what we were going to do. Acceptance. This is the kind of deeper thud part. That's why I've got a cat falling over. That's the clunk. That's the, okay, actually, yeah, that is what's going on. Or it's admitting fault. Or it's, really kind of landing the kind of truth of the situation. And an action. And this is like the real key part of what a circle is about. At least at Men's Circle, it's not a pity party, right? It's not a place to dwell. It's a place to be proactive with your life, to curate your life, and having a regular place to do that. So we were hoping to have a QR code, a date, a venue, but sadly we haven't been able to nail a venue quite yet. But all going well, in December, we're going to have a Men's Circle that's specifically for Social Wellness Club. I'm going to be facilitating it, and you'll get an invite. So I hope that you'll come along and try it to see whether it's for you. It's not for everyone, but I'd love you to try it. We're going to shake. So for those of you that don't know, this is the mental equivalent of brushing your teeth every day. Okay, this is one of the things I want to mainstream. I want to mainstream Men's Circles, but this is like my side hustle. Okay. Now, I studied ecology, and the mammalian stress response is, you know, when you see dogs walking around and they just have a little shake, or like, you know, they just all the time. That's the mammalian stress response. It's a reset of our nervous system, and humans used to do it. And I think tremoring is a whole field if you want to get into that, TRE, I think. Shaking's slightly different, it's slightly more present and fun, I think. But essentially, all mammals, if you look at them long enough, they'll have a little shake at different points. There's one particularly amazing video on YouTube of a deer getting away from a lion, worth seeing, but there's a shake that happens right in that video, crucially, and it's that moment of reset. I'm getting out of fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and I'm moving, right? And we do this at the end of our circles to reset, because sometimes it can get really heavy, right? Sometimes it can get really deep, and we usually have things to do after the circle, so it's important that we reset our nervous system. So, if you're up for a small shake, you can stay sitting, you can just shake your hands. If you're like me and you're up for a big shake, then I invite you to stand up, some of you, and shake. And it's meant to be silly, it's meant to feel weird. And me and my partner do this, right, all the time. It's really helpful to have a partner to encourage you to shake. If you get stuck in an emotion, like a really good shake, come on guys, a really good shake. If you get stuck in a funk, if you're fucked off, encouraging someone else to have a shake is a great way to reset your nervous system. That's it, thank you.